Hey guys, welcome to episode number 389. Today is Wednesday, so it's DIY Wednesday, and today I wanted to share with you how I built my favorite aquarium lid of all time. It's the Twinwall Polycarbonate aquarium lid. I've got one here. You can see it's very simple, it's very straightforward. It's one piece of material. And as you can see, it does have twin walls. There's two cells to it, essentially two walls and a cell in the middle. And it's very easy to cut, it's very easy to form. You can see I've got a little finger hole to it. I've got a little hole for my filter return in it. And it's super strong, super rigid, and it's virtually indestructible. So if this thing falls on the floor, it's not going to break. I can stack them up, I can set them to the side. It's very lightweight and they're very easy to work with. So come along with me and learn how to be a better aquarist. Alright, so what we have to work with today is a full panel of the Sunlight Twinwall Polycarbonate, basically greenhouse sheets. And this stuff is sold in 8-foot pieces. You can get it from your local big box store as long as they carry greenhouse related materials, and not all of them do. So what you might want to do is go online and find out if your local stores carry Twinwall Polycarbonate before you go ahead and travel there yourself, because I had to actually travel quite a ways in order to find a store that actually carried them. So the first thing I'm going to do here is, because we have such a large sheet of material, I want to cut it down to the right length. And in my case, I'm doing a 40-gallon breeder. It's an AGA all-glass aquarium, and I measured the inside lip dimensions on that aquarium before I got started here. And my tank happens to be 35 inches wide, is what I'm cutting this to. And I measured that distance while the aquarium was full, because I have noticed that with some brands of aquariums, and depending on the shape and the size of the aquarium, if you fill the tank up, that plastic frame tends to adjust size a little bit within like an 1/8 of an inch or so. And so you want to measure it while it's full, so that you know what the true dimensions are that you're going to need. So anyways, I've marked the line here on my Twinwall Polycarbonate sheet, and this is really simple. The only tool that we're going to need here to cut this stuff is just a jigsaw. And I have just a regular wood blade on there. You can see it doesn't have a whole lot of teeth. I would assume if you have a blade with more teeth, it's going to be a little bit easier, but obviously you want to watch out for your fingers, and you just want to cut on the straight line. And this makes a lot of noise, but it is really easy to cut. So just follow your line and you'll be all set. Alright, now we've got our Twinwall Polycarbonate sheet cut down to our length of our tank. Now we want to make sure that we cut it to the width of the tank. So in my case, with the 40-gallon breeder tank, it needs to be 17 3/16 of an inch, which is kind of a strange measurement. So what I'm going to do here is, again, line up my T-square and get my measurements. And luckily, like for whatever reason, 17 3/16 just happens to be the spot where one of these cells ends and the next one begins. And that's kind of important because you're going to get a clean edge. So on the edge, that already exists here, it's sort of a rounded edge, but when you cut into it this way, you want to try to get a clean edge if you can. So luckily this just happened to line up with that. So I'm going to make a couple marks here for 17 3/4, and then again I want to draw my line on the side here. Line it up. And once I've got my line, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to use my jigsaw and I'm going to cut along that line. Alright, now this piece here is cut to the exact dimensions of my 40-gallon tank. The last thing that we need to do before we give this a test fit is drill a hole in it so that we've got basically a finger hold so we can get this back out after we've tried that out. And for me, you know, this is 35 inches wide, so we're going 17 and a half. I'm just going to mark a center line there, and then I'm just going to take a drill with a hole saw. It's about, what is this, like a 1-inch hole saw, something like that. Something you can get your finger in, and I'm just going to step it back like 3 or 4 cells so that it's not right on the edge. And I'm using the finished edge here as the front because it's a little bit nicer to look at. And there's a pilot hole there with the drill bit. So I'm just going to line that up and send that all the way through. Just like that, super easy to cut through this material. It doesn't really matter what you use, it turns out really well. And the only other thing that I'm going to do here is just clean up this hole just a little bit to make sure there aren't any burrs on the edge of that. And you will see that some of the material gets caught on the inside. If it is on the inside, all you need to do is go up to the top and just blow on that cell, and it will push the material all the way through. Alright, and here we are at our 40-gallon breeder tank. Now we get to figure out if we measured correctly or not. And we're just doing a test fit, so we want to make sure that we got a little bit of wiggle room left to right, and we want to make sure it fits snugly front to back as well, so it rests right on that plastic rim to your aquarium. Now in my case, I have one thing in the way, and that is just a return line, a water line. You might also have a hang-on back filter or whatever else. And this is the point at which I would recommend putting this sheet on as far as you can on your tank, and then actually taking a marker and measuring out exactly where you need to cut a piece of this lid out in order to make it fit. So if you had a hang-on back filter, you could draw a larger space here for what you need to cut out. And once you have all of your marks for all of your different inputs and outputs and things that are interrupting this from sliding all the way on, you can take it back out and we can finish our last cut. Alright, here we are, and we've got our last cut right here. Again, I'm using the jigsaw, and again, it's really simple to get this cut out. And just like that, we've cut out a, you know, fairly complicated shape. We've got a nice curve to it, and everything is right where we want it. So let's go test fit it one more time on the tank. Alright, and here we are back at the tank one more time for a final test fit. As you can see, I've got everything lining up perfectly there. So we've got our return line coming through. All of these corners line up, very nice and snug. It doesn't even wiggle back or forth, so that's a really good fit. And the Twinwall sheets, the nice thing about them is they're just thick enough that it sits right flush, right on the rim of your regular glass plastic tanks. So it looks really good, it fits really good, it's really good at insulating your aquarium. and keeping the humidity down in your room. Obviously, the less cutouts you have in the top here, the better a job it's going to do at keeping the humidity down. Again, the last thing that we need to do here is just remove the protective film that's sitting on the front and the back of this Twinwall poly sheet. And you just got to find a corner and you can start ripping that material off. There we go. One side. And this obviously just helps protect it from scratches and dings while you're working on it. But here we go. This is the finished product. And we're just gonna slip that right on the top of the tank. So there we go. Again, virtually indestructible, super strong, heavy duty. You could put a can of fish food on there if you wanted to, no problem. I wouldn't recommend leaning against it, but it certainly has some structural strength to it. It's very clear, crystal clear, and I think it's going to do an awesome job at keeping these tanks covered and insulated. So that's the lid. Let's go take a look at a lid that I installed yesterday. Alright guys, so here's the lid we just built. As you can see, brand new, ready to go. And here's a lid that I installed yesterday. And you can see it's doing a really good job at keeping the humidity in. In fact, I have an air bubbler, an air stone in this tank. You can see it right there. And all of those bubbles are creating some surface agitation, and it's creating some popping of bubbles, and you know, water is sort of jumping up into the air a little bit, and you can see all of the humidity that is causing on the inside of this lid. And obviously the nice thing about a lid as snug as this is all of that condensation, all of that humidity is staying inside of the tank, and it's not entering your fish room. So anyways guys, that's the look at the DIY Twinwall polycarbonate aquarium lid. The last thing I'll leave you with is, if your lights are elevated like mine are, you are going to get quite a bit of reflection on the top here of that lid. So if you place your lights directly on this lid or close to directly on this lid, you might get less glare and you might be able to see a little bit better through that lid. But all in all, it's putting out quite a bit of light, and all of it essentially is getting into the aquariums down below. So anyways guys, hope you found that helpful, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.